Adobe Acrobat Studio, your new foundation. Use PDF Spaces to generate a presentation. Grab your docs, your permits, your moves. AI levels up your pitch, gets it in a groove. Choose a template with your timeless cool. Come on now, let's flex those tools. Draft, design, deliver, make it sing. AI builds the deck so you can build that thing. Do that, do that, do that with Acrobat.
Learn more at adobe.com/do-that-with-acrobat.
Next up, a laughing session from The Laughing Cow. Now, unpeel a wedge of the Laughing Cow light spreadable cheese, a delicious snack with 2 grams of protein and 25 calories per wedge.
Welcome to Board Games Anonymous, the podcast where everyone's welcome at the table, but of course, as always, no one knows whose turn it is. This is Chris.
Hey, this is Anthony.
And this is episode 572, March Gamer Madness, Best Mechanic Bracket. We like to thank all our Patreon backers for helping us unlock a brand new episode. Hey friends, so glad to have you back for this maddening episode, which we take a little bit from the popular sports that are helping out there, especially basketball, college basketball in particular, and we turn it into something actually fun, interesting, and engaging. Or at least that's what we're saying, right? We're going to say that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it for long enough.
I mean, to be fair, we are bigger than March Madness.
Oh, by leaps and bounds.
I mean look, basketball. And a lot of those players do listen to the podcast. They're why couldn't we be in that bracket instead of the one that we're in?
Right? Exactly. Yeah. You know that it's big when we're getting the death threats via instant message from the gambling people. So
this is the one bracket that's not affected by gambling maps.
Shh. You can bet on anything. Don't say that out loud.
Oh, no. There's going to be lines going up everywhere, man.
Yeah. Ugh.
For this episode, again, we are going back a yearly tradition of March Gamer Madness. And again, for this year, we're going to talk about mechanics because tabletop games is all about different mechanics that make games great. And we got a huge number of amazing, fantastical mechanics. But in the end, there can be only one. So very Highlander-like, one mechanic will rule them all when it comes to tabletop gaming.
Yeah, there's clearly an objective best answer. We're going to find it.
Exactly. And we're not influenced by betting rackets, so we're fine. We're good.
If you say it one more time, people will definitely believe it.
Oh, no. Is it like Beetlejuice?
Yeah, right. We call from the FCC. Be like, guys.
That's fine. They love us. We're big. We're big over there, too.
Oh, yeah. We're all on board with the FCC.
So that'll be our big episode for this episode. And then next week episode will be the complete wrap up and the final rounds. So stick with us because this will be a lot of fun because no matter what game you love, the mechanic is here, more or less, mostly. The top mechanics are here at the very least. Yeah. 64 of them, right?
Yeah, I'm about to say, it's a big list. So if you're like, where's this one? I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
They did not make the bracket. They did not. Yeah. That's what happened.
Right? I mean, there's a good chance we forgot like a very obvious one, but I think we got most of them.
Yeah. And thematically, they didn't make the bracket. So I'm going to go with that.
There you
go. Go with that logic.
Yeah. Yeah. They're a bubble team.
They are a bubble team at the very least.
Outside looking in.
100%. All right. But before we get into that, we got big BGA news. The state of BGA. Anthony, take it away.
Yeah. So I guess we would consider this big news, right?
This is the biggest of news.
Biggest of news. Yeah. So obviously we've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this a long time. Chris, you and I have both been doing this for almost 13 years.
Yeah.
It's been an important part of my life. It's been an important part of, everything we do. We've been to many conventions together. We get on here once a week. We talk games, we talk everything else in between. And it's obviously been very important to me for a very long time. And which makes it very difficult to say that I'm going to be wrapping up my time on the podcast here over the next few weeks. And it's, obviously this took some time and some soul searching to come to this decision. And it's not, it's not that I'm burnt out on board games or don't want to do this anymore, or, don't want to hang out with Chris, which obviously, want to do. We'll continue to do. It's just life, right? So much is going on, and we get on here and we talk about games mostly, and there's little things in the background that maybe peek through occasionally, but there's just been a lot going on, and it's just been increasingly difficult to juggle all of that, between the family and life and work. So unfortunately, after several months of just trying to make all that work, it just came down to the point of I need to step away. And it's unfortunate. I don't want to, just duck and run, which is why, obviously we're going to do a few more episodes and have a chance to kind of close things out and hopefully hear from some of you out there. But at the same time, I wanted to announce it early enough to be able to say all the amazing things that I have to say to the audience out there. Everybody who's been so gracious and so amazing over the last 13 years, sending in messages or just staying up to date with things, or asking me where the Patreon episode is because I forgot to post it. All that stuff, which honestly I do always appreciate. Thank you very much, because I don't mean to forget it. But yeah, it's bitter. I mean, it's mostly bitter. I was about to say bittersweet. It's mostly bitter. I don't, obviously don't want to, step away on anything but the best of terms. But things can be, we all have those moments in life. Just things can get overwhelming, and it's just I reached a point where I'm like, I have to find a path through this, and unfortunately, part of that path through is, stepping away from the podcast for now.
Yeah, it's a big change, not just for the podcast, but for me personally. After all these years of what we've built together, and obviously for everyone who's listened all through these years. We've all, been at the table together, and I know that, I speak for everybody out there where, I say you're going to be missed. So, the good news is that, it's certainly an end of an era for, Board Gamers Anonymous. But it's not the end of the show. And, I would like to keep the show going. The podcast has been a big part of my life, and hopefully a big part of yours too. So we would like to see, Anthony and I would both like to see how we can do that going forward, because we know that the reason why we started the podcast primarily was we wanted to support the game store that we met. And that was a very important part for us and for all the people there. And this third space that was not available everywhere. And for friendly local game stores out there that try to keep these things going, it's obviously very difficult for them too. So we started the podcast out of this, we're going to support our local game store. And obviously, ironically, we probably had more listeners outside of the New York City area and around the world, at least initially, more than we did, right in our neighborhood. So probably a lot of people heard about the store, if you go way back to episode 1 and so on, more than, anything else. But as time went on, it grew. So we realized that the game store was valuable. Eventually the game store closed. So I like to believe we supported it during its difficult times. And we threw everything that we had at it. We did charity events, and we ran games for people. And especially, we kept a space open for new players to come in, right? We talk about this every week. We leave a space open for you, because that third space is valuable, whether it's physically in person or a podcast that you can listen to every week. where your friends want to bring you in on the conversation, discussion. And then over time, obviously, as Anthony was saying, we heard so much back from you, whether it's randomly in person where you're like, hey, I recognize you, or more along, I recognize your voice.
Right.
Or the number of different events we did, whether it's a charity event, a convention, a conference, just a ton of different stuff, online stuff, BGA Live. Remember we did BGA Live? Remember that was the thing?
Yeah.
With Board Game Arena?
One of those things that kept us going during COVID. Like, it's something to do.
It's true. And really, at the end of the day, we want to be a service. We want to be of service to everyone out there who's listening, and to share the hobby that we love, and to have a place for you to listen and turn to when you need to. Our friend Game Master Dave, he mentioned this quite some time ago, but it stuck with me, and it helped me make this decision a little bit, which was, for somebody out there, maybe this podcast has value to you above and beyond just like, I like to listen to people talk about tabletop games and board games and role play games and miniature games and party games and 18XX and all that other kind of fun stuff. So, because I know that podcasts have meant that to me from time to time, where things were difficult or lonely, or you're at the gym, or you're riding your bike, or you're out on a long commute, and you just want to be able to lock into friends out there and just have a fun time on the way. So we're very hopeful and very supportive of the idea of moving forward, and we really want to include you in that process. So a big part of what we're doing and have always done is to welcome you to the table. And now what we're asking for you to do is join us more directly at the table. So right now we have a Patreon. Patreon is incredibly valuable to keep the podcast going. Obviously, we all know how expensive everything is right now. It's so incredibly difficult to do anything, including this podcast. This podcast is very financially costly, above and beyond time and effort and everything else. And really, in the end, it comes down to the support, whether it's supporting us financially on Patreon, sharing with other people, other listeners, and especially publishers and designers out there, that you do listen to us and that you do benefit off of our recommendations. Because as we talked about for forever, we don't take money from publishers for our reviews or previews, so that when we talk about things, we are independent. No one makes our decisions for us, so that that those reviews in particular have value, right? They're not because we are being paid to do that or promote something else. And now more than ever, you're finding that in a lot of places. And over the last couple of weeks, we talked about how lawsuits have come out or going to come out because of people trying to just make money off selling you products. And again, it's not necessarily bad to sell products, but there has to be a transparency with it. So Anthony and I, since the very beginning and throughout our work here, have always been transparent and ethical about everything we've done, because again, that's what you do for friends. You are supportive, transparent, loving, caring, and direct with them. So just that's all wrapped up to say, you are the reason we're here. You are the reason we're always here. And for many episodes, especially here with Anthony, we've struggled a lot to get some of these episodes out over the decade or so.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's been a challenge. Anthony mentioned the pandemic was very difficult for all of us. Obviously, the lockdown, and we were still doing episodes. Anthony's moved a bunch of times, left and right, up and down. So that's added to the difficulty. Travel's added. The cost of games have added to the difficulty. So us being able to review games for you or preview games for you has become more challenging. Going to conventions have become more expensive, more challenging. We've gone to a lot less conventions over the years just because of the financial costs that's associated with that. And again, since we don't take any money from people to influence our things, it costs us a little more to do what we do. So currently on Patreon, we have about 30 people that are financially supporting us. That comes out to about $120 a month. And that helps tremendously. And we couldn't do that without you. But at the end of the day, it's not enough to cover all of our expenses. So Anthony and I have been donating time and money in order to produce this podcast for everybody out there. But what we really need now at this point, now more than ever, especially with Anthony leaving, is we need your financial support. So if for any way or any time this podcast has value for you to keep going, we would like you to seriously take a look at patreon.com, take a look at the resources, the podcasts that we offer without commercials, all the extra special episodes, everything Anthony and I have done over the years on there, and also an opportunity to actually join me on the podcast. I would like to keep the podcast going weekly still, but I need co-hosts. So maybe you are in fact interested in coming on and being a guest host for an episode or more. And I'd like to get to know you and see what you would like to talk about. And for everybody out there, whether you're providing financial support for the podcast or just in Patreon, because patreon.com also does have tiers for just being part of the show, not financially giving to the show, but being part of that. Because I'm going to ask a lot of questions or try to get some information as far as what would you like to see next? Because this is just the next stage of the podcast. And in this next stage of the podcast, I'm going to be bringing you on to join us at the table. So, and at the end, what this podcast will look like going forward is really dependent on everybody out there. So, ideally, if we can pull together another 30 supporters financially, bring us closer to 50, that would help a lot. If you can't support us financially, that's fine. Continue to listen. That helps a lot. Those helps the numbers. Rate, review, go to youtube.com, check out our channel there, subscribe. Obviously, let people know. Like, there are people out there that care enough to support tabletop gaming because it's a wonderful community and you're a part of it. So if you haven't already, please go to patreon.com/BGA. There'll be information in the show notes that you can take you directly there. Check out all the information there. If you can support us, great. Financially. If you can't, see how else you could support us. And again, I really want everybody in Patreon so that we can have conversations, take polls, get a sense of what's next. And of course, if you would love to join us at the table, we would love to have you on the podcast. It would help us keep the tradition and the work that Anthony's done over the years, keeping the podcast going, go further. And I think that would be one of the best things that we could do to honor Anthony's work of all these years, is that it means enough to you that you want to join us at the table.
Yeah, no, everything you said is amazing. I think for me, one of the hardest things you talked about, like the role of a podcast in someone's life and what it's there. And honestly, that ran through my head a bunch of times before kind of finally making this decision. Is like, what would happen if this podcast I listened to went away? And I was like, I'd be really upset, right? Because those things are part of your life, and we understand that. We take that seriously. It feels like a real responsibility. So, it's not goodbye yet. I'm going to be here for a few more weeks, but I do want to just say, to everybody, especially those of you who've been listening for a long time, we really appreciate you.
Yes.
Whether we've talked in person or online, or you've never reached out but have listened, for years. I personally really appreciate you for just kind of keeping us going, and just knowing that there's so many people out there who are listening to this and who are able to make this part of their week. It's just always been so gratifying. So it just really made it very challenging for me. And it's just, it's just part of a tougher time in general, but I'm really happy to hear that things will continue, and Chris, you're going to be able to try to keep things rolling, and y'all should get in here and talk stuff, right? Y'all play games, things, what we talk about. So bring the heat. I think that'll be fun. And I look forward to hearing some of you hop on here and share your thoughts.
Yeah. And thank you, Anthony, for everything you've done for the podcast and for all the people here. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. And again, I'm around. I'll be here for a few more weeks. We can talk all this stuff. And maybe if we keep the podcast going long enough, Anthony will come back. But maybe. Don't tell him I said that. Yeah, like I am still alive, so it's okay. Yeah. Hopefully life isn't like this forever. Sure. And, there could be some space and things in the future. But yeah, I can't overstate how important this has been in my life, and how difficult it is to do this. So I really hope that you all can, if you don't understand, at least appreciate that. And because it does mean so much to me that you're all out there. Yeah, it means a lot that you listen every week. We look at the numbers, we look at the places around the world. It's incredibly touching, and it's nice to know that there's a network out of people that are all supportive and joining on the same conversation wherever they are. So, and especially now more than ever, wherever you are,
right,
we are with you. And this is a small way, but it's important.
It is, yeah. I think anything that helps us connect in a world that's increasingly disconnected, I think it's so important. It's so powerful, and it's been an honor to be part of that for so long.
Absolutely. All right, with that, let's get on to the episode. All right, so our feature episode this week is once again March Gamer Madness, where we talk about the best mechanics in tabletop gaming. These are the things that make tabletop gaming so wondrous. It's all those wonderful designers who get deep down and dirty and try to figure out a way to kind of communicate, hopefully very thematically communicate, the theme, the action, the skills, the abilities. It's the thing that really turns you on when you're playing tabletop games. This game has some awesome stuff that typically for the normies out there, they don't understand when we're talking about mechanics in tabletop gaming.
Normies.
I mean, come on. They're normies out there.
No, you're right. I have to, when I teach this in my class, I have to do a whole lesson and a half on what's a board game mechanic. Because they're like, what?
There's mechanics in there? Yeah. What are they doing in there?
Yeah,
Where are the parts? I don't see any nuts and bolts. There are nuts and bolts in tabletop games.
Yeah.
So
it's not a machine. It's a bunch of cardboard.
Actually, when I teach games, sometimes I do talk about the nuts and bolts. I'm like, all right, let's talk about the nuts and bolts of the game, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, it helps if you define it as a machine. I think it helps people understand it a little bit better. So.
Yeah, especially when the games that we're talking about here, which lend themselves to that. So whether it's role play, tabletop games, especially the Euro variety, or anything that has anything more than more than a Cards Against Humanity. More than a party game or a party experience kind of thing. I mean, party games do have mechanics too. I shouldn't be so crass about that. They do have mechanics. They just happen to be very generic.
Generic and often only one. But yes. They are mechanics.
Yeah, it is a mechanic. Mm-hmm. And again, we're talking about the best 64 mechanics out there who beat the bubble, got in here, and we're going to break them down and see which ones get to the next round, which will be the next episode. So, Anthony, why don't you start us off? Because this is your thing, man.
Yeah. doing the March Gamer Madness is fun. So we broke this down into 4 regions, as we do. And, it's board game mechanics. Obviously, they can overlap into other groups, and that's fine. But this is where we put them. So deal with it.
I think it's correct. You think it's correct. Everyone's out there thinking that this is correct.
I think so. I don't have a problem with it. I think we're good. So we have worker and action focus. So the things you're doing, card and deck focus, area control and strategy, and then thematic and conflict.
Ooh.
So what do those mean? Let's get into it.
Yay.
All right. Worker and action focus. Let's pit up our first matchup here. Number 1, worker placement. A classic.
Yes.
My first love in board games, the mechanic that I was like, this is a thing? This is amazing. And over the years, maybe I've wanted a little bit more added onto it to make it as amazing as it once felt. But those first few worker placement games, I'm like, holy crud, this is amazing. Versus number 16, enhanced workers.
Ooh.
So we have workers that can be powered up or made more powerful in their games.
I like it. I like it. Upgrades, downgrades to the workers that go out there. Nice.
Yeah. Which is not nearly as common, obviously, as worker placement, but is an important element of certain subsets of the genre.
Yes, very much. Yeah, these are the classics. You got your worker placement, Agricola. The farmer goes out, same farmer throughout. But obviously, if you play something a little more complex, again, not super complex, but like Star Wars Rebellion, the different characters have different abilities, so the workers go out and they can do a lot more stuff. Yeah.
And some you just have different tiers of workers too. So it's not all like worker first round of worker placement. I'm like, Lords of Waterdeep, great. I move my worker, I do a thing. And then
they never come back, Anthony.
And they never come back.
Those cubes never come back. It's weird.
Oh, the adventurers, yeah. But then you kind of power it up over time. You're like, well, you get you can do something more interesting, even something simple like viticulture, where you just like these different workers do different things. And now you can kind of power them up.
Tricarion has that, where you power up your workers too.
Yeah. And they do more.
They do.
Over time. So I do find that interesting. There's like variants to this too, where like Architects of the West Kingdom, where like the volume of workers kind of powers them up. Interesting spin on that.
Sure.
So, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's always good to have a general good worker placement game, but I will say that I lean towards the worker placement have different worker types, just because I like more of that thematic vibe that workers could do different things. So like Manhattan Project, you have scientists, you have engineers. Again, they could be powered up and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to worker placement with the different worker types.
So the enhanced workers,
man, they got it. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my original true love, the worker placement game.
Oh, he's an oldie and a softie.
Yeah. It's the first type of game I really truly was like, holy crap, this is what we can do with board games. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And it was probably around the time that those were becoming popular too, like 2013. So
sure,
that's another big part of it. So that we're split on that. We have to go to the magic die.
Do the magic die, Anthony.
All right, evens or odds?
Odds, because that's those workers. They're odds.
All right, 14.
That's
an even number. Worker placement, plain old, all the worker placement. Moves on.
Boo! Damn you, first round seed.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have number 8 versus number 9. Area movement versus point-to-point movement.
The movements in the areas.
Yes. So, do you prefer the broad, squishy movement between grouping areas of a map, or city to city, point to point?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a really hard decision because it's just like both of them. I don't know. I like to break it down as far as games are concerned. So when I think about the area movement, typically I'm thinking like when old school, like Risk, but also brought me into the hobby, where you have, Small World. That's it. Small World is one of my favorite games. So that kind of like taking a bunch of troops and like marching them in to a whole area. That's always been a fun, fantastical kind of thing where you feel the power of it. Yeah. You feel like you actually are doing something. Point-to-point movement, I guess, again, it fits its place as far as like what you need to do and why you need to do it, but it doesn't have the kind of, for me at least, it doesn't have that kind of like dramatic moment where you're just like shoving all your troops into a particular spot. It's just like, hey, I connected 2 particular areas together, like in Concordia, and now I'm building a pathway. So like, I guess on that side, it kind of builds, like, and it spreads, but it doesn't have that kind of full force movement. So I'm going to go with the area movement, Anthony.
I think I'm thinking with you. Yeah. There's not, it can convey a lot of things, and you can do a lot of, obviously at a base level, it's just like pick up handful of plastic, move it a couple inches and drop it in another spot. Yeah. But it, like, when you really nail it, when you build something up and are able to just like shove things forward, that's such a nice feeling. Whereas like point-to-point movement can often feel very like anticlimactic. Think like a Marco Polo. You're like, I spent 13 gold and I did all these things, I spent all these dice, and I moved one spot.
Yes.
And it's just like, okay, that was my whole turn. Fun. So yeah, I'm with you. Area movement.
Yeah, I think the other one's fine because you build out a thing, but yeah, it doesn't have the dramatic appeal.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Area movement was on, yeah.
Yeah, an area movement into the next round. We got number 5, Action Queue.
Action.
So this is when you kind of load up your actions and they're going to trigger in a certain order. So I always think of like dominant species. Worker action focus is literally like one of the first, same as like bus, same type of thing.
Yeah.
You put your different workers out and then it's going to trigger in a certain order. But there's obviously other spins on that too. Like even something like Spirit Island, you have powers that they queue up based on the speed of the actions
Sure.
that you're all taking, or track movement, where you are doing things that move you up different tracks, which it has a Pavlovian thing in the back of my brain. I'm like, yes, higher numbers go bigger.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like that's the thing we often point to in games that use it as being the least interesting.
Sure.
Like Terra Mystica, you're like, everything's great. The tracks are boring. Right?
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm biased here. I think Action Q is a lot more interesting.
Sure.
Whereas track movement is often, it can be cool, but I think a lot of the time it's just like a thing you throw on to make numbers go up.
Yeah, I mean, you also have the track movement where you have like racing games where you're trying to follow a certain, pattern or like a circle or a line or a certain route and trying to get there first.
Sure.
So that has its own kind of general genre. And then obviously, like you mentioned, like there's the abstract versions, like backgammon, you're just trying to move things down the road. So I think from a racing game standpoint, that has some fun. It's not like Monopoly, for example.
Oh no.
But on the other side too, action cues as far as like you build up your movements, your program, right? It's like programming, and then everything kind of plays off each other. So like the birds and Root, where like you kind of program stuff out, and then it triggers. You mentioned Dominant Species, which makes a lot of sense too. Dominant Species is really a fun game because it's like, it's so incredibly dramatic. Like the cover is dramatic. It's like metal. And then the devastation cards are dramatic because they blow up everything. But primarily the game mechanic is like you load everything up and then you wait. And then everything goes off one by one by one. It's just like very cordial considering the fact that you're murdering other species the entire game.
It's such a polite little game.
It's like, before we murder every other species here, everyone get in a line. Don't break the line. Go in order. Everyone good. So
it's such a funny thing where we're like, we all look back at that game. You're like, that's one of the great board games. And yet the core mechanic we moved on from immediately. We're like, that's not how we're going to do worker placement at all ever again. But this game is great.
This one works. This owns it. Yeah. So, I think I'm going to go with Action Q on that.
Agreed.
Action Q moves on. Number 5 seed. Go for it.
All right. Next up, number 4 seed, Action Points. So any game in which you are given a certain number of action points, and then you can use them to fulfill your turn. So like Blood Rage, Through the Ages, Pandemic, actions per turn. Especially games where you get to play with that and maybe get more. So think of like Wormspan. I really like Wormspan a lot more than Wingspan because it introduces an action point mechanic that allows you to take more actions if you can play the game right. It annoys some people, but I find it very fun. And then movement template. So this more or less, I mean, there are a few different games that do this, but I always think of like Wings of War, X-Wing miniatures, the games that they follow a certain template, right? You have like little like pieces of cardboard that tell you where you're going to go based on kind of not only the type of ship, but the amount of space you're trying to move.
Yeah, I agree on all of that. I think it's certainly, the movement template is such an interesting dynamic because you try to get it in your brain instead of having to put the template down, because some of the games like X-Wing Miniatures or Star Trek Attack Wing, you can't just put it down there to kind of measure your space.
Yeah. So
it's like, can I internalize the particular movement template? And typically the answer is no.
No. I mean, imagine if you played enough of it. Like I've played, I guess I've never played much Warhammer, but I had a friend back in middle school, high school, we would go to the Games Workshop store, and he played enough where he could look at it and be like, this is how far this is what I'm doing without having to measure anything. And I'm like, how do you do that? He's like, I'm here every day. Like,
sure.
Like, if that's all you do, then sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you take that certain turn angle and you put it down and you end up crashing into another ship, you're like, I don't like this game. I love the game, but I don't like this game.
Done that so many times. Yeah.
It's not fun. I guess for me, one of the fun kind of mechanics I really do love, and I've talked about it before, is the action points.
Yeah.
Because I like to have Typically, you can get more action points, or you have a certain number of action points depending on that particular phase or round. And how you spend those has a lot of importance value to it. So comes from a lot of different ways as far as what you could do. You mentioned like Through the Ages or Blood Rage. And that economy is very tight. Whereas the templates seem like they're knowable and therefore like you could perfect that, but somehow you don't and you feel bad about it.
Right.
Action points. That's what I'm going with.
I agree. Because my experience in X-Wing miniatures is exactly what you described, is repeatedly crashing into other ships. And I think it's a cool game, but I'm terrible at it.
Yeah. I wish I could just mentally absorb that and just like project it on the table, because it would be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But, alas. that is not one of my superpowers.
No, that's spatial Jedi power that we don't have. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Star Trek Attack Wing came out with the Borg, and the Borg only moved straight. So it's all their trackers were just like straight lines. I'm like, I'm gonna be the Borg from now on.
Yeah.
It's like
Can I be the Borg? I want to be the Borg. Let me be the Borg.
That's it. Like don't have to worry about life anymore.
Yay, straight lines.
Straight lines. It's gonna get me into trouble, but sure, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy to put together.
All right. So action points number 4, moving on there.
Yeah, buddy.
Number 6, action timer. So this is literal timers to track your actions. You're thinking about games like Space Alert, Fuse. What's the one? Megan
Kites.
Kites
we just talked about. Yep.
Yeah, recently talked about that one. So little more tension, a little more stress in the gameplay with the timer. A lot of party games have timers, I've found, as I bring them into class more often. Versus programmed movement.
Isn't that crazy that these are against each other?
I know. It's funny.
The opposite of each other.
Literally the opposite. Whereas in programmed movement, you take as much time as you want, plan it out, and hopefully it triggers in the right order. So
and it usually doesn't.
It never does. That's the fun of it, right? So your Robo Rallies, your Colt Express, your Mechs versus Minions.
Colt Express is funny. It's been a while since I've played that.
Yeah. So I actually don't know. I have to think for a minute. You go. I don't know if I like either of these.
So as Anthony was mentioned, the funny thing here is the action timer, right, is supposed to pressure you to make actions. But honestly, I would say 9 out of 10 games, you're usually fine without a problem, right? It's just pushing you to make a general action. There is that 10th game, like we talked about Kites, where it really does challenge you as far as the standing timers are concerned. The programming movement, again, ironically, you have all the time in the world, technically, kind of, I don't know, but like in the game, you have plenty of time to put together your thing. But typically, because everyone else is doing a thing, it doesn't typically matter. So you have all this time that's just generally going to be randomness. So like I've literally played, like Mechs versus Minions or Robo Rally, where it's just like, all right, I don't care, blah, 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 and it works out. You're just like, why? I'm not sure. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you play Board Game Arena, they have timers on almost every game on there. So even though the games don't have timers, they have timers because you have to take your turn.
Yeah.
So I understand the timer, but I think the programming movement is, in theory, more fun. In practice, I don't think it works as well as it should, but in theory, it's more fun.
I think I agree, as I'm thinking here. And the reason why I agree is because it feels like a puzzle that I could potentially solve.
Yes.
Even though, like you said, sometimes you just throw stuff at the wall and it works, and sometimes you plan it out very carefully and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I will say, and this is how I'm trying to think of these sometimes, is what is my favorite game using this mechanic, and is it better than the one from the other category?
Good call.
So I think my favorite game using program movement is like Quirky Circuits, which it's more cooperative and a little silent communication. So you do get chaos, and that is kind of fun with the programming. I can't think of a favorite game for the action timer. I guess Magic Maze or Few. I don't know, but it makes it easy for me. I think program movement.
Program movement moves on to the next round. The number 11 beats the number 6.
All right. All right. Next up, we have Dice Workers at number 3 versus Pattern Movement at number 14. Now, Dice Workers, we got lots to say on Dice Workers.
We've used them a lot.
Yeah. So Dice Workers, like it's a typically a Euro game in which you have a worker which is going to change in some way based on the dice. So either you're rolling the dice to determine the power of the worker, or you're leveling up the worker over time, and you represent that by moving the die face. So the most basic game for this that many people would know is the Voyages of Marco Polo, where you roll a bunch of dice. Those are your workers. You're going to place them out. But another spin on that could be like Teotihuacan, where you move the dice around the rondel and they get more powerful as you take actions. You're never going to roll them. They're not actually acting as dice, but they are dice, and they're counted up in that way.
Queenborough does that too, where the dice have certain powers based on the pips.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting for a lot of reasons. Like, you can do it in a lot of different ways. Like, you can make they naturally go up and down. That's cool. You can play with that from a design perspective. B, there is some level of randomness if you want it there. So you could have that in a game like Marco Polo or Lorenzo El Magnifico, or you could make it static and just use it as a counter. I think that's cool.
Yes.
On the flip side, Pattern Movement, we have the opposite.
Once again,
the opposite, where we have games with defined patterns and sets so your chess, your shogi, modern games, Hive, the Duke, that are here's what you can do with this piece, and here's what you can do with any of these pieces. Now go do it and try to do it better than your opponent, and they can see everything as well. Like, everything's open information. There is no randomness, right?
Sure.
Which is also great. I love these games as well. They're typically abstract games.
Yes.
And it often two players, often, just trying to outthink each other. I think of the two, I like, as a modern gamer, especially in the context of this show, I'm probably going to lean towards Dice Workers, because it's like, if you look at my top 100, there's probably like a dozen of these in there, and maybe 2 or 3 Pattern Movement type games. But I've been playing chess since I was 3, and I really like it. So, and the Duke is one of my favorite games. So it's a tough one to vote over.
Yeah, I've been playing chess a long time, and Duke is also one of my favorites. But I'm not a big fan of the Pattern Movement. I feel like it's solvable on some level, and I mean, the Duke kind of fixes that a little bit as far as what you can put out there on the board. Chess is a little bit of a different story. Amazing game, incredible game, transformative game, and obviously it's gone through its own transformations over the years. But if I have to choose, it's always going to be Dice Workers. I love the idea that the workers rolled typically, and then you have a certain power that you can use, or that just, again, this ingenious idea that dice are workers. It kind of throws people because they always want to roll them, and like, no, it's a worker. Don't roll him. He'll get dizzy. It's not good.
Yeah.
He wants to stay that way. Or for example, Quantum, right? Where the dice, depending on, again, they're workers, they're ships, but they can also flip around to a different number. You can upgrade them and such like that. So, yeah, our friend Eric Zimmerman did a great job with that. So, yes, Dice Workers unite.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Dice Workers for sure.
All right, our number 3 takes out number 14, Pattern Movement.
All right. So next up we have Pick Up and Deliver, number 7. Classic category, going back many years of you got a resource, you need to get it from point A to point B. Sometimes you produce the resource somewhere and then you move it somewhere else to sell it. So you've got all sorts of games that have you do this, and there's like different ways it works economically. Obviously, you're trying to sell stuff, but sometimes it's maybe going out and finding things like in like Firefly or Star Wars. Sometimes it's straight up economic, like I said, like Age of Steam or Merchants of Venus. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of approach it, but ultimately you are literally picking stuff up and delivering it elsewhere. Now we're up here against Area Impulse. Now this is a bit of a more classic thing that tends to show up in war games.
Yes.
So it early, going back to like Avalon Hill games from like the 80s and 90s, things like Turning Point, Thunder at Casino. These are more of a back and forth activation by area. So you're kind of basically on the different fronts and then activating different parts of those just kind of in succession.
Yes.
It's a cool mechanic. It functions really interestingly, especially for a war game. I'm not really a war gamer, so I don't really spend a lot of time playing games like this, but I do appreciate it. Not a huge pick up and deliver fan either, although there are a handful of games on this list that I like a lot. So I would lean towards that.
The pick up and deliver?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, these are older mechanics that kind of come into play. And there's some, I mean, Firefly is one of those games with the pick up and deliver, of course.
Yeah.
Geez. You know, I do like those games that really allow you to kind of pick particular actions. You know, we talked about the area movement before. So in those kind of battle games, when you play like Command and Colors and things in Battle of Hoth or TI4 or something like that, or Eclipse, like I'm going to attack this area and this and this and this and this and this. And so I'm going to go with Area Impulse here, Anthony.
All right. I'm going to bring the die back out.
Bring it out, buddy.
Odd still?
Always odds. Always bet on the odds.
All right. 19. It's all you.
Yay! I did a thing.
Area Impulse for the win.
The upset. The number 10 seed takes out the number 7 seed. Pick up and deliver.
All right. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So last one here in this group. Number 2, worker placement with different worker types versus forced commitment.
Okay.
So when we're talking about different worker types, we have multiple different ways to think about it. You can literally have a physically different worker. So we talked about viticulture earlier, but in this case, we're not upgrading them or enhancing them, and they're literally just do different things. Or you have a different situation where the workers maybe are going to different locations, or come from different places. So like Anachrony is a good example where you have different types of workers do different types of things, but you're putting them all in the mechs, right?
Yes.
And you're sending them out to do actions. So that can be very fun. It can be a little bit more of a cognitive load because you're trying to keep track of what the different workers can do.
Sure.
And how many of each you need, which especially for newer players can be a lot. But it can add a lot of really interesting depth to worker placement as a mechanic. Forced commitment is refers to like broader like area, what's the word, dudes on a map.
Dudes on a map. Yeah, troops on a map. Yeah.
So you're committing to different locations and saying this is where I'm going to go, either with hidden commitment or with direct commitment. So you have things like Scythe with the combat wheels, Rising Sun with the coin bidding across the different battles, Kemet where you're committing to the battle regardless. So a lot of different approaches here. And you know, it's dudes on a map, it's combat, but it's not your traditional war games necessarily. It's typically more of a Euro approach to that.
Yes. Yeah. Again, both are interesting. I mean, a variation on worker placement is always good. But I do like the work. I do like the forced commitment. You know, when you're battling out there, especially with Dune Imperium, and how those forces kind of move into that battle arena, whether you're committing them early or you're going to lose them as far as the battle before the battle takes place. So, or even in Cyclades, where you're doing action and bidding to kind of get troops involved. So you're paying for or auctioning or committing X number of dollars or X number of troops into a particular situation, and you are committed now. So also, I like the drama of that. It's very dramatic, as like, I have won that. I'm going in by ship or I'm going in by land. Like, that's it. I'm doing this.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go with forced commitment there.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think that's more interesting. Like, I love worker placement just in general. We talked about that. But we've already got worker placement on here, and I think, like I said, the cognitive load gets a little heavy, and I think that can sometimes drag it down a little bit.
Very true.
All right, forced commitment number 15. Moving on.
I tell you, beating the number 2, man.
Yeah,
got some upsets here.
Crazy. All right, moving on to the next section. We have a card and deck focus. So we're gonna dive in on this one. Number 1, of course, is deck building.
No one saw that coming.
Right? Yeah. What are you talking about?
What's the number one seed? I don't know. Deck building.
And so obviously that's, the core of there's cards been around for centuries, but for modern hobby board games, deck building is like the mechanic that kind of changed everything. We had Dominion back in 2008, and then everything that came after that. So, yeah,
even the CCGs out there too, just building decks.
Yeah, you see, you have deck building and then you have deck construction, which are kind of
that's right. That's a different one. Yeah,
yeah, but it is the same idea, and they just took it and made it like recyclable, which is really interesting. I'm like super, brain deep into Slay the Spire right now. So I'm like deck building. Versus resource to move. So in this case, spending resources, committing resources, pushing resources to be able to move in a given space. I mean, it's fine.
It's there in a lot of games. In fact,
it's in a lot of games, yeah, and especially from a card perspective, sometimes you have to spend cards to be able to do those things. It always feels like it's secondary to other mechanics, though. Whereas deck building, it's deck building. Right?
Well, like Voyager's Marco Polo, you have to be able to, give enough, camels to get to a certain place, or enough rocket fuel to get to a certain place.
I know, but that's like the worst part of Marco Polo. They made a whole second game to fix that part.
Is it worse than feeding the people?
I didn't say it was the worst mechanic. I said it was the worst part of Marco Polo. I don't know if we have feeding the people on here, but that loses.
Oh, that would definitely lose. I don't think that made the bubble.
No, okay, yeah, I booted it. We each got a veto. That one's out. I don't know. For me, it's deck building. I think you can do a lot of cool things with deck building. Like base core deck building, Dominion, fine, whatever. But like the cool things you can do building on that, I'm all for.
Same here. Deck building, number one seed, big surprise.
Woo! All right. Next up, we have tableau building, a favorite of yours.
There you go.
Number 8, versus variable player powers, which often
very good too.
Yeah. So some kind of card or tile or something you have in front of you that's like, hey, you got to follow the regular rules, but also you get to break some, and here they are. So, this is hard because I think tableau building is very, very fun. Like in terms of like the little chemicals in the brain, not many get better than like building out your own little engine and being able to like push the button and be like, yay, it's doing stuff. But variable player powers are awesome, especially if they're done right.
And they're somewhat similar, right? You build a tableau, typically, not always, but typically that gives you a particular player power, right? Yeah. That gives you its own machine. But being given a variable player power to kind of like start off with, like, this is what you're going to be working with.
Yeah.
So, do you want to build up to it, or do you want to have, or everyone should have a thing to kind of start with?
I like the variable player powers more because it's a little bit counterintuitively, I think it's easier to teach because you give somebody a little bit of direction. Like, here's what you're focused on, go do that. Whereas a tableau is like, here's 400 cards, figure out how to put them together. That's a little bit harder.
100%. So yeah, I'm gonna go tableau building because I can't not, man. It's a beautiful thing.
I know. All right. Well, I want variable player powers, so I'm gonna roll the die.
Do the die thing.
All right.
Odds.
4 variable player powers.
No. You had a player power when you rolled that die.
And as we've said for the last 12 years, I roll the die. Nobody knows what happens.
No one knows.
I've literally never lied, but no one would ever know if that's true or not.
There you go, people. There you go.
Yeah. It's not
Anthony Chatfield, everybody. Anthony Chatfield.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, open drafting. So you're drafting cards, but everybody can see them. Versus number 12, command cards. So think your Command and Colors games.
Yes.
And having that card that kind of dictates what direction you're going with things. I like drafting. I don't think I like open drafting as much. I guess in like a 2-player game, you have to do it that way, and that's fine.
Sure.
And some of those are some of the best games ever made. I love me some Seven Wonders Duel and Lord of the Rings. But command cards is just such a cool mechanic, like Battle Lore or Memoir 44, like just the ability to kind of dictate where you're going and how you're doing it just with the single card.
Yeah, but don't forget, you also have Kemet, which you're open drafting those tiles, or you have Caverna, which is again open drafting the tiles versus like Agricola, where you have those cards where no one sees what you're pulling.
I guess I don't think of Caverna as like drafting. It's more just purchasing from the market. But I guess there's only one.
Yeah,
for most of them,
typically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that kind of open market drafting that you can kind of utilize, whether it's a card or a tile or something like that. So St. Petersburg, right? That's the kind of classic game where which green card are you going to take? 'Cause you have to pay for those cards, but like which green, which blue, and then how that kind of plays into your hand. But obviously that's important. Or Azul. Azul has the tiles. You can play that. So, yeah, I mean, it makes games easier for sure as far as what you can do. Command cards are more dynamic. They're more challenging. Like you can get stuck. You know, you play Command and Colors, you play Battle for Hoth, and you're like, I don't have a thing I could do because everything wants to activate the right side, and I only have my troops on the left side.
Sure.
So, but again, it's a really fun mechanic that you can't deny. So I guess I'm going to go with command cards there.
All right, me too.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, next up, number 4, close drafting. So your 7 wonders versus push your luck, which is really just that type of game where that one friend in your group goes too far and breaks every hand. hit me. Oh, I bust. What are you doing, man?
They went on a trip, man. They ran for it.
It's flip 7. And then sometimes there's other mechanics around it. There are some really good push your luck games, but I feel like my experience with push your luck is always just like, okay, well, you're just gonna go nuts, and we're all just gonna have to watch. Great. Whereas, 7 Wonders is an all-time great. So, close drafting.
I got to do press your luck. I think press your luck or push your luck. Take this, take that. You know, so many games. It's a ride. It's a gamble. It's gambling, right? Like you said, like it's that kind of how far can you go before you kind of bust. And that's in a lot of games. And I like that about a lot of games. And I guess it's, again, I don't know why I keep going back to it this week, but it's like, it's also a very dramatic kind of play style. It's a little bit on the outside. Not everyone loves it because, again, you are pressing your luck. And then if it does blow up in your face, it does blow up in your face. But you do have choice. You don't always have to press your luck too far. So, yeah, I'm going to go push your luck.
Okay. Well, I'll roll a die then. Let's see where we end up here. 5. That's you, right? Oh,
that's me.
I should have made you keep
my
rolling.
luck, and I got it.
Yeah. Oh, you got to get 3 in a row. Go.
2 out of 3? We can do 2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
Thematically, do 2
all
out of 3.
All right, we can do 2 out of 3.
Yeah. I'm pressing my luck here, buddy.
8. All right.
Oh no!
You're pressing your luck, and you might lose. 4.
No.
And that's exactly what happens at every press your luck game.
Damn it.
Close drafting moves on.
Oh no. Say it and so.
But hold to it.
I was hoisted on my own petard.
Yep. All right, next up, number 6, set collection. So you're collecting sets of things.
Yeah.
Often in cards.
Yeah. Point salad, buddy. Point salad all day long.
Yeah. So you've got, there's a million different ways to think about this. From
set collections all over the place, yeah.
Sushi Go to Ticket to Ride, where you're collecting sets and then spending them to put trains out. You've got Kaido, or part of the mechanics there, you're collecting different sets of things. Like, there's lots of different games. Versus random production, which might sound silly. Like, what is that? But you all know it because you played Catan, right?
Yes.
You roll a die that tells you what you're producing. That is random production.
Sure.
Bonanza. Space Base. Yeah. So there are a lot of, actually, you probably play this mechanic quite a bit. I will be honest, I don't really like random production games.
Remember when we played Monte Carlo way back in the day?
Yeah.
You, me, and Daniel.
Yeah, on the floor of his apartment.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, is this broken?
It feels kind of broken, but it's not, but it feels kind of broken.
It is broken. Yeah, well, if you play a game with Daniel, he'll figure out how to break it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. I want it to work. It's just, Like Space Base, I'm like, this is cool, except it takes too long. It's like the buildup is so slow. So I don't know, set collection for me.
Yeah. I mean, set collection feels so basic now. It's almost kind of a given. But yeah, random production doesn't feel good. So like again, you have the opposite. Set collection is very static and straightforward and obvious, and random production is just like, and you get a bunch of a thing instead of like not or maybe nothing of a thing, right. Which works well with Stone Age, kind of as far as like what's available to kind of do. But no, set collection. I got to give it to the standard there. Number 6.
All right, we did it. All right, that is number 6, set collection. Moving on. Next up, we have number 3, hand management, which is hand management's the funny one because it can be interpreted in a bunch of different ways. I would think of it as like at the most extreme, it is literally like you cannot reorganize your hand. You need to manage where the cards go or how they come out. So like again, like something like Bonanza. Or it could just be managing your cards in such a way that you can use them when you need to use them, which is all sorts of games, right? Terraforming Mars, Spirit Island, whatever. Versus the unique deck game, which is really just Keyforge. But Keyforge is very unique, and I love me some Keyforge, where you open up a box of a deck, and that is unique to you, and you're going to play with it as is. No other game ever came out with that, and they only actually produced like 2, maybe 3 unique games. Sure. And the other ones were not good. So we have Keyforge.
There you go.
I pick Keyforge. It's one of my favorite games.
Well, I'm going to go to hand management.
Yeah. What?
I do have a deck of Keyforge. One deck with a silly name.
I've got like 100 somewhere. I don't know. Haven't played that game in a while, but all right. I have a deck that like I should have sold when people were offering to buy it, but it was like undefeated, like 40 games or something.
Oh, crazy!
Somebody offered me like $200 for it.
Wow!
And I was like, no, I love this deck. And then COVID happened, and I haven't played since. But
well, that's also unique.
Yeah, right. All right, 17 hand management wins.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
I know. I knew it was going to come down to the roll of a die, and I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, number 3 moves on to the next round.
All right. So we have campaign battle card driven, number 7, or scenario mission campaign game, number 10. So there's a lot of card driven games, CDGs, where you just like there's a map and you take actions by playing cards out. So at the most basic, think like Watergate, but Twilight Struggle or 1960, Making the President, those types of games. They're campaign based, they're big, they're sprawling, and you're playing cards kind of in battle, whether it's actual battle or just theoretical battle. Scenario mission campaign is quite literally you have a scenario or a mission, and you either have a deck of cards or cards that represent that, and actions that you're going to take in that game. So again, both of these are kind of in the war game bucket, but not necessarily war games.
Sure. Yeah, I like the campaign battle card mechanic. Obviously, it's like you said, you see it in war games mostly, but it's just a general idea that those campaigns that you're going to be playing out have just like kind of like very thematic outcomes to them. So it's more in my wheelhouse than the overall kind of like broader, kind of bigger, like this is what you're doing this thing, and if it works, it works. Like your Pandemic Legacy or Gloomhaven, where it's just like, and this is what you're in for a long time now.
Yeah.
So good luck. Okay, good luck, people.
I'm 100% on board with that. Yeah. Campaign battle cards, like that's some of my favorite games. So
100%.
All right. And last matchup in this group, we have multi-use cards. So
number 2, nice.
Glory to Rome, San Juan, All My Goods, versus Resource Queue, in which resources are kind of mapped out in a queue and you have access to them accordingly.
Yes.
So like Macau, for example, like with the little turning, whatever you call that thing that turns in the middle. I love me some multi-use cards. I'm terrible at Glory to Rome. I don't think I've ever had a fun play of that game, but I always want to believe that it's good because I'm like, this is such a cool idea.
It's so cool.
I know, and I'm just like, I just can't wrap my brain around it for some reason, but I still enjoy it, which tells you how much I like that mechanic.
Multi-use cards are they're fantastic, and I can't imagine the genius that goes into having them kind of like work like all different ways. Like one of the best games that I like for this is Bruges. Like on the back of the card, there's the building. And you need the buildings because on the front of the card is the people that visit and stay in those houses. So the back is the house, the front is the person, and then there's a banner of all different special abilities. So there's a lot of stuff. And there's also Far Shuffle, where all the cards have different sides to them and how they kind of interact. And you mentioned obviously one of the greatest games of all time, but again, certainly a challenging game where if you don't put all the stuff together, it's a hard time. It's a bad time. So I'm going to multi-use cards.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Number 2 keeps the numbers going.
All right. All right. Group number 3, we have area control and strategy games. So there's just a bunch of different stuff in here. First up, we have number 1, area majority influence games. So your El Grandes, your Twilight Struggles, your all those dudes on a map games we talked about. Right? Versus variable setup games in which the actual setup of the game varies depending on either scenario or just player choice. So Catan, Twilight Imperium, Spirit Island, random layouts, a bunch of games to do this. This one's tough because they're both kind of broad, and it really there's different games for each category that I really like. I'm pretty well on record that I don't love area majority games. Just because it tends to be a genre where people can undo all your work. And I do like variable setup because it just makes the game more interesting, and you're making decisions even before the game starts a lot of the time, which I think is cool. So I go with that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with variable setup too. I know it's the 16 seed taking out the 1, but I like a game that can't be solved. And I think that's one of the aspects of games I like a lot, where you can come into it with different things. So the variable setup gives you an opportunity to kind of like be forced into different scenarios and different situations and different strategies. And that's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Number 8, network and route building. Power Grid.
Power Grid, anybody?
Versus grid movement. So moving on said grid.
That's right. Either building a grid or moving on a grid.
Exactly. Which would you rather do? Build it or move on it?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, again, generally it's a hard one. Because grid movement is such a big part of gaming, whether it's like the dungeon crawls or chess games, things of that nature. So I'm kind of built to do that.
Right.
Network and route building is such an ongoing thing. Again, I guess Ticket to Ride is just, again, another one of those kind of classic games. I'm going to go grid movement. I just keep it simple.
Yeah, I'm on board with network and route building just because it's trains.
It's trains,
18xx in there, which I'm all about.
That's why.
Yeah, it is. Rolling the die. 18.
All right.
Trains it is.
Trains it is.
Although, to be fair, grid movement is also trains if you want it to be.
That's true.
All right. Next up, number 5, we have closed economy auction versus tile placement.
Oh, this is a tough one too.
So we have several different types of auctions actually coming up because auctions are a big part of games in general. So it'll be interesting to talk about like what each of them does and why they're different. Versus some of these other types of mechanics. So a closed economy auction is where like all the money is going to stay in the game. Right, you're not taking any money out of the game; it just stays there. So like Raw is probably the best example of that, or No Thanks. Like No Thanks, the chips somebody's getting those chips; they're not coming out of the game.
Yeah, and you can kind of plan around that too.
Right? Yeah, like it's more Euro style in the sense of like when am I going to spend these? How am I going to spend these? And I have a set number of resources to use. Where are they going? Tile placement is tile placement. You know about tile placement. It's a million things. It's Carcassonne. It's, Patchwork. It's Isle of Skye. It's you're putting tiles down. That's what you're doing.
You are putting tiles down.
I love tile placement games. I do think though that a closed economy auction is a really interesting game.
Yeah,
a lot of the time, like that's for me. It's. I used to think I didn't like auction games, and then I played things like Raw or No Thanks, and No Thanks isn't really an auction game, but it has kind of that idea to it. And I was like, oh, that's actually very interesting because you're not just throwing money out there; you're thinking about who's getting it and what disadvantage it puts you at for them to now have more money than you. Right? Sure, I can afford it, but can I afford for them to be richer than me right now?
100%.
So,
and it puts you in and again, it helps you figure out how much you want to bid on a certain thing too. Yeah. So that plays a lot, like for sale, for example.
Yeah.
So it comes back around to it. It's so hard though. Tile placement is so historical, classical, traditional.
Yeah.
It's almost every game out there.
It is.
Yeah. I'm going to go tile placement and then let the die have its say.
Die is doing a lot of work this time. I don't know.
I know.
The listeners love the die. I don't know if the listeners love the die. Let us know if you love the die.
Yeah.
10.
All right.
Economy auction.
Number 5 beats out the number 12.
This is the problem. If I win a lot of these rolls, people are like, when are you actually rolling that dice? Yes, I'm rolling that die. All right. Next up, we have the number 4 seed, Dutch auction versus pattern building. And so a Dutch auction is you start with the price wherever it is, and then you drop it until somebody decides to purchase the game.
That's good action. Mm-hmm.
So it's just a one bid auction in that sense.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody's like, sure, then it goes forward.
Yeah.
In pattern building, again, this is another funny matchup where you're like, yeah, pattern building's pattern building. I don't know. It's Azul, Calico, Cascadia, Feast for Odin, Patchwork, all those games. I love those games.
It's true.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's really hard to both of them have their value. I guess for me, the thing that you mentioned, again, it's a little bit more of it fits along the lines of the press your luck kind of situation.
Sure.
So for me, that's the auction, the Dutch auction, where like something comes out to market and then it's dropping, but like you don't want to pay, you want to hold on to your money because again, maybe also has a closed economy on top of which. So when do you pull the trigger on it, and do you pull it? Sometimes it's too late. So I'm going to go with the Dutch auction there.
Okay, I'm going to go with pattern building because I just mentioned like all my favorite abstract tile laying type of games. We're building out different patterns for points. I love them.
Sure.
So the die will decide once again.
There you go.
We might agree again, folks. We might. We got 5.
5. There you go, buddy.
One, sir. We got one.
Woohoo!
All right. Next up, we have number 6, Negotiation versus number 11, Square Grid.
Oh.
So, Negotiation that's what it sounds like. You are
yes.
literally negotiating with each other throughout the game. So, hard to put rules to, but also hard to stay friendly. Classically, the angriest one, diplomacy, but others that kind of fit into this, we got Chinatown, with Catan, negotiating and trading things there. Sidereal Confluence, a game that is built entirely around negotiation and economy.
Yes.
Oath has a little bit of negotiation in it as well. I don't like this mechanic very much. I don't think I care too much about Square Grid. I'm not a big fan of moving around directly Square Grid, except maybe in abstract games. But
sure,
I don't like to negotiate.
I think theoretically the negotiation should be the best game mechanic there is because really it's people, right? And the best thing that in a game really that works with people is negotiation, right? That you can't AI that, right? It's yes, AI can come up with a solution, but again, people negotiating is a unique dynamic.
Sure.
That being said, I've never seen it work properly in a game that I've played because people just don't get it and don't play objectively with it. It's and that's also part of the negotiations. It becomes very emotional.
Yeah.
And people are just like, well, you did this and I did that. I'm like, what's best for you right now? Like, you have to really talk people through that. So, and again, that's also, it plays out in a lot of mechanics, a lot of games out there too. Legacy, where, I don't know, it's theoretically should be the best mechanic. I don't want to play it. I just don't want to play it. So,
no. Well,
Square Grid. Just Square Grid.
Whoever that type A person at the table is who just like powers through everybody. And eventually I'm just like, okay, sure, whatever you want. I don't care. Can we move on?
It's, again, like I said, I haven't met the game that does this, that gets the players to operate properly in it. But theoretically, I think there is a game out there that should be able to do that.
Yeah.
I may have not even met the players or the game yet, but I do believe they exist somewhere out there in the world.
Right.
Although, if you look at the world, clearly people can't negotiate. So maybe not. Maybe that's not a thing.
Yeah, like that, or maybe they should have played more board games. Who knows?
Jeez, I tell you.
All right, so I'm intuiting we're doing Square Grid there.
We're 100% doing Square Grid.
Okay. All right, that's Square Grid number 11. Moving on. Next up, number 3, English Auction. This is your classical people bidding against each other as the price goes up.
Sure.
Auction. That's the type we all know and love.
Yeah.
Versus pattern recognition.
Oh.
So the more abstract, trying to solve basically puzzles or find patterns in sets. Mm-hmm. So games like Set or Spot It or even Codenames, where you're trying to find the correlation between the words. So there's a lot of these, and they vary from like family friendly to more complex.
Sure.
The English Auction, there's a lot of auction games out there. So Modern Art is probably the purest of these. Kenichi is like art auction game. But Power Grid has an auction in it. High Society. There's a bunch of stuff that does this. And this, again, different than the closed economy auction, although a closed economy auction could fit this, where you have an English auction where the money distributes out. We picked the other 2 auction ones. We're going to pick a third.
I am. I like auctions. I think where negotiations fail, I think auctions succeed, and they're a lot of fun, and it really brings a great human element into it. And it's awesome seeing someone blow away all their money, unfortunately, or fortunately. Like you said, it could be in a closed economy or otherwise. So, yeah, I'm going to go with auction, English auction here.
I think me too. Just because pattern recognition it's like a basic thing. It's not like, I like Codenames fine, but it's typically in a little more abstract games.
All right. Number 3 moves on to the next round.
All right. Next up, number 7, trading. So again, more negotiation.
But it's negotiating with things.
You're directly with things. Yeah. So Catan, right? Sidereal Confluence, we mentioned that's all negotiation. It's negotiation of trading things.
Yes.
So the games like that versus the Hexagon Grid game. So not a square grid, a hex grid.
Which is the best shape out there.
It is better. So
scientifically it is.
Now we get games like Catan and Twilight Imperium. We get just more interesting games in this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think my opinion changes even if it's a little more focused from trading from negotiation. Not a fan.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Hexagon Grid.
I'm going to go with Hex Grid too. Hex Grid is the new variation to board dynamic setup, and it is the best shape for squeezing as much in as possible. And I mean, I think the vast majority of my tiles are hexes, right? They have to be.
Yeah.
So
hex tiles are better.
Yeah, and also trading too. Again, trading should be one of the best mechanics. I mean, that's human civilization kind of built up on trading, but also random person decides to give someone else all the sheep for the wood, and you're just sitting there like, why? Why am I playing this game? I don't want to play this game anymore because that was a dumb trade, and now they won. So
yeah.
Stupid
trading games.
Stupid.
Yeah. It's always, it just turns into like, I don't want to help this person. Like, all right.
Yeah, it becomes a kingmaker kind of situation, which is not fun.
Right. All right. Next up, we have at number 2, I Cut, You Choose.
Oh, that's a good one.
Versus the modular board.
Ah.
So similar to the modular setup, but in this case, a literal board that can be laid out in different ways. I I cut, you choose, interesting. And like, if it's your turn, you're going to decide how to split up the options, and then people are going to often draft the pieces out. So the purest form of this I think we've ever played was New York Slice.
Yes,
the pizza game. But it's used in a lot of other things, right? Like Castles of Mad King Ludwig is kind of this, right?
Yeah,
like the master builder setting the prices. It's an interesting mechanic. Every time we run into it, and we don't very often, it's like, oh, that's cool. We should see that more.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising we don't see it more. And I guess maybe it has a complicated mathematical kind of schema to it, where it's just like, how do you put that together in order for it to be broken apart in ways that kind of make sense? But it is a really kind of fun dynamic that you're going to be giving away some things for other people. Like Dinosaur Island, right? Where you kind of put the dice together. That's a cool dynamic moment. Or, you know the game, Anthony? The one, you have it, Dynasties.
Oh,
I can never remember the rest of that, but it's Dynasties.
Yeah, I mean, it's in German. So off the top of my head, I don't remember.
But that's the dowry, right? As far as you have like 3 dice or 4 dice or something, you have to split it up.
You decide how to split them up, and then people take the dice. Yeah,
that's a very cool mechanic.
Yeah, that's a fun game.
Yeah, and modular boards, like, it makes games variable, which
we talked about variable setup. The modular board often is what makes it set up like that.
Yeah.
So, but it can also just like make it more flexible, like in terms of how you play it. Like Spirit Island has a modular board.
Yes.
That adapts to player count.
It's so brilliant. Yeah.
You're not really making decisions at the start of the game based on that, but it does make the game better, right? Because it's adjustable.
Yeah, and Scythe went from a solid board, and then you could pick up the modular board pieces. Right. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes not so much.
Right. Yeah. I think for me, I love a modular board. I think the games that have them that I like, it makes them fundamentally better. Mm-hmm. But I Cut You Choose is so cool. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I Cut You Choose because, again, it's not used enough, and it really needs to be used more. So,
so just to encourage people to use it more, I'm gonna go with that.
And like, again, we keep making you bring that Dynasties game just because of that mechanic. Honestly,
I know that's true.
Just
every time someone's like, bring that game, I'm like, why do I like this? And then we play it. I'm like, oh, right, because it does this thing that nothing else does.
Yeah, it's a really tense moment where you're trying to figure out. You're like, I really want this, but if I don't give them this, then I won't get that. But if I give them that, then what's the point of giving them this? But maybe they won't choose this. They may not want that. And you're just like,
It's literally like game theory, the game.
It
right?
is.
Like, how do I make this zero sum? You can't. That's the whole point.
That's it. And sometimes they don't take what you want. You're like,
Yeah, like they have some other objective you can't even think of. And you're like, why would you take that? And they're like, you'll see. And you're like, but why? You're like, because I have a secret objective. Shut up. All right, last region here, thematic and conflict. And our first matchup is a doozy. Cooperative games versus legacy games. 1 and 16. So cooperative games, of course, the classic.
They're everywhere.
Pandemic, and then everything else based on that.
And then the legacy game, Pandemic, Legacy.
Oh, yeah. You kind of have like one person who spearheads each of these genres. You've got Leacock on one side and Davio on the other, and they've worked together on a bunch of stuff in the middle.
That's funny.
For me, I'm not the biggest cooperative gamer, but then I'm a big solo gamer, and so I've played a lot of these games. Some of my favorite games are cooperative. Legacy games, I've had more bad experiences than good ones. So, like, I love Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Fantastic experience. But I did not like Charterstone. I did not like Seafall. I did not like a lot of these others. So I got to go with cooperative games just because Legacy game is so hit or miss. It's so hard to do it right.
Yeah, it's hard. Risk Legacy you haven't played yet, which is...
I never played Risk Legacy, and I've always wanted to.
We should play that because that's a great game.
Yeah.
We can get 1 or 2 more players on that. I think it's a lot of fun.
Let's get Dave on that. He'll play that.
Yes, he would. Co-op games are... I mean, I feel like, again, like you said, the alpha gamer kind of problem with that they can be kind of hit and miss. Like, and I feel like some designers, again, we've talked about this recently with the Origin Game Awards, like cooperative games and solo games are the same game. It's like, don't like that, man. Don't like that at all. That's not a good thing. So you should not build your co-op games to basically be solo games. I'm sorry. Like, I get it, but also that's not cool and fun because if it's built that way, then your co-op is not going to be fun. if it's played by multiple people. So
Right.
So when the co-op games are good, they're great. Like I love Defenders of the Realm. I love the idea of just like everyone's playing together for a common goal. But also legacy games should be the most amazing games in the world because like it transforms the gameplay very uniquely. And like you'll never play that game again and it'll never be played the same way again. But like you said, it doesn't really always...
You have 2 co-op games in your top 10. I think you have to...
Yeah, I'm going to go with co-op games. It's a safer bet.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
You've got them higher rated than I do.
Yeah.
Like co-op games. I like, again, neither one of us is a big co-op gamer, but we both really like the ones we like.
We do. When they're done well, they're done very well. Again, same thing with the legacy games, but there hasn't been enough legacy games to bear that out.
Yeah.
As a mechanic. And we're down to the mechanics, man.
We're down to the mechanics. So all we can talk about right now. All right, number 1, co-op games. Moving on. All right. Next up, we have number 8, narrative choice games versus number 9, storytelling. So narrative choice games, think of games where you're moving through and you are given a choice in the context of the narrative. So Tales of the Arabian Nights, Dead of Winter, all those Ryan Lockett games full of narrative choices, Time Stories.
Time Stories, which is also a legacy game.
Yeah, that's true. It is a legacy game. And then storytelling, you're actually telling a story to some degree, right? So Once Upon a Time, Fog of Love, to a lesser degree, something like Stuffed Fables.
Sure.
So these tend to be a little more freeform, a little less rules, a little more party-ish, but more actively requiring players to put themselves out there.
Yeah, roleplay games.
Yeah, but like in a board game structure, which is always
100%.
I always find those interesting, and with the right group of people, they're very fun.
Yes.
Like we played a game with Will at a convention last year in Jersey that I don't think I would like at all generally, but it was fun because it was with you guys. Yes. With like the putting on the TV show. Like
that's right, the TV show game. Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun when they got the different fantasy characters. As a game, like where I'm like, am I gonna like this game? Probably narrative choice. Like if you ask me today, I'm like, do you like Dead of Winter? I'm like, I don't think so, but every time I played it I had fun. So
yes.
These are all games that I would enjoy. I wouldn't seek out, but I would enjoy playing.
Yeah, storytelling as a mechanic is very good, but also it really highly depends, just like negotiation games, on the crowd that you're with, where narrative choice is a more safer mechanic because it's smaller bits of storytelling,
right,
that you have to do. So yeah, I'm going to go with narrative choice as well.
Okay, cool. Number 8, narrative choice. Moving on. All right, now we have the easiest one in the history of ever. Have the conversation here. Number 5, player elimination. I don't know why it's number 5. Maybe it's got flipped.
Well, it was higher up, but then it eliminated the other mechanics.
Oh yeah, it knocked itself up.
That's right.
Player elimination versus literally anything. But in this case, dice rolling with re-rolling. So Yahtzee mechanic.
King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's so clever. There's a lot of games that have this, but
sure, it's
the Yahtzee mechanic. Player elimination is just all those old games that make you go sit in a corner and watch everybody else have fun.
Sucks to be you. I guess.
Yeah. Although ironically, also King of Tokyo. So
yes, but also like Werewolf.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of social deduction games where you knock out other players at the table. But yes, that's ironic. It is also King of Tokyo too. That's really funny.
So we've got my favorite part of King of Tokyo and my least favorite part of King of Tokyo.
That's so funny.
Dice rolling, right? Duh, right?
Dice rolling.
Yeah.
Nope.
Player elimination's a bad mechanic. Don't
Boo.
do
That'd be funny. Like just bring dice player elimination games to a game night and just watch people never come back again. Well, this, like if you played like Food Chain Magnet with player elimination.
Oh my god. I mean, that's basically just Monopoly in terms of how mad you'd get, right?
Well, to be honest, like if you play Food Chain Magnet and you play it badly, it is kind of like a player elimination game.
The first time I played, I was effectively eliminated at 45 minutes. I was like, I had $1 left or something like that.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I was like, well, I can't like do the math. I'm like, no, it's actually impossible to win now. I don't even think I can influence the game. I'm just here.
That's right.
I have to take up the physical space.
That's true.
All right. Next up, we have number 4, hidden roles.
Yes.
So you talked about these a little bit there. So the Resistance, Avalon, Secret. Well, maybe not that one. Werewolf, Blood on the Clock Tower, Battlestar Galactica, famously, where I don't listen to you.
If you would have listened to me with
versus victory points as resources, where you can spend your victory points to kind of do things in the game. So sometimes the currency is the victory point, and that's always interesting. And sometimes you have victory points separately that you can spend or sacrifice to do things. So what do you think?
Victory points as currency or as resources that you can use is such a wicked, twisted, evil mechanic that I love it. Because, like, you're just playing this game, you're just like, I'm giving up points to do a thing. I'm giving up, like, it's going to come back, right? It's going to come back, right? And then, you know, somewhere in the universe, someone's calculating, you know, what you're giving up to what you're getting. I can't necessarily do that in real time, but I'm hoping that I'm making the right decisions in real time. So this is one of my favorite mechanics, surprisingly enough, where it's just, you suffer. You just suffer when you play the game.
Yeah.
You're just like, I need these to win, but if I don't give these away, I won't win. How does that work? So,
yeah. I'm 100% with you. I like a good hit and roll game can be fun, but the push and pull, the torture that is like spending points to hopefully pull out victory later, and like the math you have to do on that is that's what makes a game really interesting. Yeah,
when you get down to the end, you're like, I'm going to choose not to do as much or not to do anything and just hold on to these things. Again, that's a risk.
Yeah,
as well. So,
all right. Sounds like number 13, victory points as resources. Moving on.
Yeah, beats out the number 4. Who knew?
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have number 6. Take That.
That's rough.
Munchkin. Yeah.
Or literally any other game that just attack cards.
Yeah, but Munchkin.
But Munchkin.
Yeah. The game is defined by it.
I guess so, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Every other game too. Versus number 11, dice rolling, where you're resolving die icons, which sounds very specific, but it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right? So again, come back to King of Tokyo, where the icons on the dice determine what you're going to get. You have your Eldritch Horrors, or Elder Sign, so all those Arkham games, the different symbols. Just plenty of games do this. Even at the biggest level, we talk about like War of the Ring. You roll your dice, you have those icons, you're going to spend them as you go. So that one's pretty broad. It covers a lot of stuff, but it's interesting. It makes the dice a little more flexible, a little more interesting. You have to keep track of what's on each die. Sometimes you can purchase or change dice out to change things. Take That as just being mean to each other, which, hey, sometimes it's fun.
Sometimes it is fun. I'm going to go dice rolling, dice icon resolution, because sometimes it's not fun.
Yeah. I famously don't like that about Munchkin, so I think we all know where I'm at.
Sure.
All right, number 3. Next up, number 3 is role playing. So just role playing games. Versus games. Number 14, voting. So a voting mechanic can be very interesting. It's one of my favorite parts of Twilight Imperium.
Sure.
With the agenda phase.
Hegemony does that too.
Hegemony, yeah. Any game where you just all have to kind of decide, like, is this good for us or bad for us? I think it's very interesting.
A certain rule. Yeah,
especially if it changes the rules of the game. That's really cool.
Sure.
Role-playing can be anything. So,
it's true.
But to me, this is like embodying a character, being part of that, telling a story as you play. I love role-playing games. I have a lot of fun with them. I have to be in the right mood for it and be with the right people. Voting mechanic it's cool, but it's often a very small part of a game. So
sure.
I'm gonna go with role playing.
I'm gonna go role playing too. I think that voting is fine. I think it should be better, but typically voting comes down to, did you get enough votes to be able to vote? And when you see players at the table, typically they're, whoever has the most votes wins the vote.
Yeah.
Which is also how real life works, but not really as much fun in a game. But role playing is role playing. I don't know if there's anything more classical and embodying that role playing is.
I mean, it's what started this whole thing, right?
Yes, it is.
I guess war games are what started this whole thing, but what really started it that we care about is tabletop role playing games. All right, number 7, we have simulation. So just a direct simulation of a thing, very complex. The one that's stuck in my head right now is the American President game I have downstairs. I'm never going to play. Keep setting it up, getting halfway through the rules.
But if you play it, we'll get a new American president. So do it.
Oh man, I didn't know the stakes were so high.
It's 100% a Jumanji situation. You need to do it, man.
Oh man, you just broke my brain. I got to quit my other jobs.
Do it for the country. Do it for the world.
No, I'm on it. I'll play the game.
If the president switches dramatically, all of a sudden, it's because Anthony finally played the game. That's it.
Or I play it really poorly, and everyone's like, "Why is everything somehow worse? What's going on?" We got Jumanji.
Got Jumanji, as you do with most games these days.
Yep. So yeah, we got simulation, which by definition, not a lot of randomness, versus dice rolling, which by definition, pure randomness.
That's right. So the opposites of each other.
Yeah. What do you think? Random, no random.
No random.
No
Simulation.
random.
Yeah.
I agree. I like no random.
No random.
I love dice, but we've talked a lot about how dice do cool things. But just
dice do a really cool thing, and dice rolling is great in games. But I got to appreciate all the game designers who actually pull all the effort together to actually do a simulation game.
Yeah, I mean, a straight dice rolling game, not as much fun. So to me,
yeah.
All right, last matchup here, number 2, semi-cooperative games.
That's always a weird term, man.
Yeah, where you're kind of working together, but kind of not. Versus number 15, scenario campaign games. So
okay,
semi-co-op games. Often maybe a hidden role type thing, where you're kind of working together sometimes. Dead of Winter, semi-co-op. Battlestar, semi-co-op.
Mm-hmm.
Shadows over Camelot. These are all kind of like the hidden thing. Like,
sure.
I always think of Terraforming Mars as semi-co-op because you're all
That's
working
funny.
towards a shared objective. Even though some people at the table are not working towards it at all and they suck.
CO2?
CO2 is a great one. Yeah. So basically, yeah, you're all doing a shared thing, but you're trying to do it best.
Yeah, usually it's if you don't do the shared thing, everybody loses.
Yeah.
But you need to do the shared thing, everyone wins. Or again, remember, was it Marvel Legacy? The deck building game? Remember the old one with all the
Legendary.
Legendary, there you go. Where it had that weird thing, like if you had the most points, you win, and like nobody ever thought that was the thing.
Do that. Yeah.
Nah, it's not a thing.
Australia is another one too, right? That's semi-cooperative.
Yeah, because you got to fight Cthulhu back.
Yeah, everybody's got to fight him, but somebody's trying to win.
Yeah.
So that's semi-co-op versus scenario campaign games, which is really just like your big box of stuff. So your Gloomhavens, your Descents, your everything sold on Kickstarter. Pretty much everything. Big miniatures in a box cost $400. It's probably a campaign game. So,
sure.
So the really good ones of these are amazing. I still have all my Star Wars Imperial Assault stuff. Love it. I think I'm going to go with semi-co-op game though, because it's so hard to do well and it's so interesting when it works. Whereas the campaign game, there's like 4 billion of them. So
yeah,
it's like watered down.
It's rough. It's rough on both sides because when the semi-co-op's bad, it's bad. It's hard to balance. And the scenario one is kind of generic and basic, but it's there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. All right, I'm going to go with scenario. Let's roll the die, man.
All right. We'll end this thing on a die roll. 19. Semi-co-op.
Semi-co-op.
All right, folks. There you go. We've got our 32 finalists for next week.
All right, everyone. Until next time, this is Chris.
And this is Anthony.
And we'll save you all a seat at the table. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Every hero strikes out on their adventure for a different reason.
To prove myself worthy of my mother's praise.
To write my own story and discover who I really am.
To prove to my family that I am more than they believe me to be.
To revive the god that has chosen me.
But when the fragile balance of the world is in jeopardy, and sinister forces move in the darkness, heroes will be tested, pushed to their limits and beyond. And it will be left to them to determine if they are up to the task. There is a darkness rising. Will they be able to overcome the challenges and meet this evil head-on?
For my god.
For my story.
For my freedom.
For the world.
To restore the balance. Modified Role Season 2, The Chronicles of Erin, a D&D 5e actual play podcast. New season, new characters, new story. Find us on all the usual podcasting apps or at modifiedrole.com.